Scuderia Ferrari has acknowledged that it was slow to take advantage of the benefits offered by flexible wings in Formula One, largely because it was under the impression that the FIA would quickly intervene and clamp down on the practice. In the current generation of Formula One cars, teams have discovered that harnessing the aerodynamic flexibility of front wings can be an extremely effective way to mitigate issues such as low-speed understeer and high-speed oversteer, both inherent characteristics of ground-effect single-seaters. When optimized, a flexible front wing can provide significant aerodynamic improvements, especially in terms of overall balance of cars, which is why teams like McLaren and Mercedes have made considerable strides throughout the 2024 Formula One Championship in refining their designs. The Woking-based team ran the so-called flexi wing in the Italian and Azerbaijan Grand Prix, winning the latter in a close fight between Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc. The rear wing has passed all FIA tests and remains legal, as McLaren has maintained throughout, despite increasingly intense scrutiny from its rivals, particularly after footage of the wing went viral from Oscar Piastri's rear-mounted camera in Baku. Essentially, the wing flexes between a high downforce configuration during corners with flaps towards the edge of the wing opening up during straights to convert to a low downforce mode, aiding top speed. Ferrari, after initially holding back, began using a new flexible front wing design, starting with the Singapore Grand Prix at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, hoping to gain a performance advantage in this area. This coincided with a resurgence in form for the Italian team, highlighted by victories in the United States with Charles Leclerc and Mexico City, where Carlos Sainz secured the top spot for the Italian side at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. Ferrari team principal Frederic Vasseur explained that Ferrari had delayed pursuing this concept more aggressively because of its belief that the FIA's investigation into flexible wing behavior, which began at the Belgian Grand Prix, would lead to stricter regulations that would limit or ban the practice. However, as Ferrari later discovered, the FIA decided to allow teams to continue with their designs, signaling that they saw no need to change the existing rules. Speaking to the motorsport website about the situation regarding the flexible wings, Ferrari team principal Frederic Vasseur elaborated on the Maranello team's initial hesitation and subsequent realization that the FIA would not take action to restrict the use of this technology. Frederic Vasseur expressed frustration, explaining that at one point the team had been waiting for the FIA's decision regarding the installation of cameras from the Belgian GP. The French manager noted that they were convinced the decision would be a no-go, but instead it turned out to be other way. As a result, he estimated they had likely lost 1 or 2 months of development work for the SF24 single-seater. Frederic Vasseur explained that Ferrari's cautious approach in developing a front-wing design capable of better utilizing aerodynamic elasticity was also shaped by the financial constraints imposed by Formula One's cost cap. Given these restrictions, the Maranello team was hesitant to invest valuable resources into a design that could ultimately be deemed illegal or banned before it could be used in a race. The potential waste of time and money, if the concept was later prohibited, made Ferrari more reluctant to aggressively pursue the development of the flexible wing at that stage. The Ferrari team principal explained that the cost cap made decision-making challenging, noting that teams had to prioritize carefully. The Frenchman added that if they were convinced something would not be allowed but began developing it anyway, it would consume valuable wind tunnel time. However, he acknowledged that this had ultimately been their decision. Starting from the Belgian Grand Prix, the FIA significantly increased its scrutiny of front-wing flexing across the teams. This included the installation of additional video cameras and the use of extra monitoring stickers, designed to provide a more detailed understanding of how the aerodynamic components were behaving during race conditions. Recently, in discussing the findings of these investigations, the FIA's head of single-seater racing, Nikolas Tombazis, explained that the governing body's conclusion was that, due to the varying approaches adopted by different teams, it would have been unjust to implement any immediate changes to the regulations governing flexible wings. The diversity in how teams were using the technology made it difficult to justify a sudden shift in the rules, as it would not have been fair to impose new restrictions without a more thorough evaluation of the situation. The racing car designer, who has worked in Formula One since 1992 for Benetton, McLaren, and Ferrari, explained that the varying loading patterns on front wings made it difficult to predict their behavior within the regulations. The Greek racing car designer noted that no two wings exhibited exactly the same loading pattern, making it challenging to develop an effective testing method. Nikolas Tombazis acknowledged that since these rules had been in place since 2022, making sudden changes for 2024 or 2025 seemed reactionary. However, he concluded that the information currently being gathered might guide them toward a more effective solution for the 2026 Formula One Championship.